Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our third and final skill exchange of the year. Just want to say a quick hello because I can see our chat is filling up with people. Hi to Christoph, Andri, Emara from Cuba, Mati, Benai, Eduardo. Hi, everyone. I hope you are here. Welcome and thanks again for joining to find out some great insights and learnings today. So today we'll be finding out all about being a true digital entrepreneur. One country in the Baltic states has totally nailed starting and managing an EU-based company 100% online from anywhere. This is Estonia, and the best part about it is that you don't even have to be in Estonia or travel often to Estonia to achieve this. Instead, you can become what is called a digital nomad through Estonia's e-Residency, a government-issued digital identity and status that provides access to Estonia's transparent digital business environment. So to put better context into my words, Mats Kuuskemaa, who's the head of business strategy e-residency in the Republic of Estonia, will meet with e-resident and serial entrepreneur Vicky Brock, founder and CEO of Vistalworks, which is based in Glasgow, Scotland. Vicky will share her experience and the reasons which motivated her to create and run an Estonian entity which operates fully online. Following the fireside, we will have 3 breakout rooms where we will delve deeper into what an e-residency has to offer. Each breakout session will last around 30 minutes, but I'll explain the content of those breakout sessions a little bit after the talk. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Mats on stage, who's the expert on anything e-residency and will tell you a bit on how the whole concept has come about. Welcome on stage, Mats. We're ready to have you now. Yay, here he is.
Many thanks for the kind introduction, Elise, and
no problem. I love the background.
Yeah, it's quite lots of plants here indeed.
Super great.
A warm welcome and also to everyone from me. Before I have a chance to introduce you to our inspiring keynote speaker today, I'll do a short overview. What is e-residency and how Estonia sort of came up with it?
Awesome. I'll let you do that. Thanks.
Thanks, Elise. Brilliant. And I will also share a couple of slides with you. So what you will see in front of you now is an e-residency kit. So essentially, this is what e-residency really looks like. It's a government-issued digital identity that Estonia is the first country in the world to offer. What you can do with it is you can sign documents, and the key use of it is that you can create and run a business fully online from anywhere in the world. And the idea is that you never really have to visit Estonia for any bureaucratic reason, that you can do it anywhere, wherever you are. So why Estonia, and why this little country came up with it? Like many success stories, also this one starts with a big failure. And there's no bigger failure for a country than to lose its statehood, to sort of be swiped off the map. But at the same time, it also gave Estonia a very clean break and opportunity to build something new. So in 1991, Estonia got back its statehood, its democracy, but it was bankrupt. Its economic system was gone. Its state structure and economy was collapsed, didn't have any currency, any international recognition, any army, had lots of problems. But people wanted to build something new. So the first elected government was all people in their 30s. What happened, the first prime minister was 32 years old. And in the government, everyone sort of got sacked, and they took really new people, young people, and to test new things out. So we tried to learn from the best. For example, our constitution, our legal system, we tried to base it on the German system. We took all the advice from IMF. So in 4 years, we built a fully market economy after having a fully Soviet planned economy. But e-governance was an area where we didn't really have anyone to learn from. So we tested things out ourselves. So in 1997, Estonia put its tax returns online. What we learned is that a lot more people started to pay tax in Estonia. And then in 2000, we introduced a sort of digital identity card for citizens, which is very similar to what e-residency later became. And then slowly all the government services were put online. People can vote in elections online. They can start a company, name their baby, do anything, almost anything, except getting married and divorced these days. So e-residency was really an extension of that. There was an idea that let us try something new. Let's open our digital infrastructure to people outside Estonia, and let's see what happens. And often it's seen as a technological innovation, but it's not really, because we really created a new sort of judicial category, a new sort of legal basis for people to operate in Estonia. And you saw how the e-residency card looks like, but what we learned in the last 6 years is that it actually became quite popular. And it became popular inside the European Union and also across the world. And now we have about 75,000 people who've signed up for e-residency and about 15,000 new companies. But of course, e-residents participate in Estonia in many other ways as well. And what we really did, we sort of built an ecosystem around it, that anything you might need to run a company as an entrepreneur, as a freelancer, to make it super easy. So we have a marketplace that has all sorts of support that you might need. Either you need an Estonian address, bookkeeper, you might need tax advice in your local country, for example, or legal advice in some cases, banking partners. That's where you can find all that. If some of you after today you feel that let me try this out, let me become part of this community, that's the journey you will need to take. You apply online for a e-residency card. You go and pick it up at an Estonian embassy. You choose a service provider, give an Estonian address. Then you register your company online, and then you find a banking partner or fintech partner, and you're done. You can start your business, travel around the world, and be part of our community. So after we have a chat with Vicky, there are a couple of breakout rooms you can choose from. So one of them is tax, and tax was probably most interesting in a way that Estonia has consistently, it has the highest ranked taxation system among the OECD countries. And also, if you're based in a sort of single location, perhaps you're a freelancer, small entrepreneur, you're not traveling around, that means you have tax residency somewhere. And tax might be an interesting topic for you to learn from. The second breakout room is about digital nomads and location independence. Of course, currently the world's a bit locked up, but soon that will end, hopefully, and you can meet other e-residents there, hear about their stories, hear how their mindset changed, how they've learned, how they've organized their business and life whilst being location independent. And last but not least, startup ecosystem might be interesting for you. Estonia has a population of 1.3 million people, but it has 5 unicorns. And also it has advantages, startup visa program, and also you can learn if you want to have a business in Estonia as an e-resident, maybe not even live there, but how you could actually register your company as a startup officially in Estonia. So this is a breakout for you. But now, to get to the exciting part, we have our keynote speaker, Vicky Brock, a very inspiring e-resident. Very happy to have you, Vicky. Vicky, by the way, if anyone wants to contact her later, here are the details, but we will also share these later on. I will stop sharing now. 1 second. Vicky, I think you can slowly, yeah, you're on the screen, brilliant. I will briefly introduce, so Vicky is one of the best known Scottish founders. She's created 5 tech companies, often mentioned in publications like Forbes and Bloomberg as one of the key top CEOs to watch. She's had many successes, also has had challenges, and now you're with your 5th company, Vistalworks, which also has an Estonian entity, and you're an e-resident. So a warm welcome to you, Vicky.
Thank you. 5th time lucky. That's my hope with this one.
Brilliant. Yeah. So I would maybe like to start with e-residency. I mean, when you first heard about e-residency, what sort of rang the bell for you that let me try this out?
So when I first heard about it, obviously being based in the UK, I was looking at it just having learned about Brexit, and our world was going to become very different. And I was looking for where as a citizen, where as a person, I might find my spiritual home in the EU, because I think of myself as a European. And when I first heard about e-residency, I was looking for the catch. I thought it must be too good to be true. It was so affordable, so accessible. It was exactly what I was looking for. I didn't quite believe it. And I went ahead and applied, and I went down to London because I live in Glasgow. So, you know, we're talking 5-6 hours away. I went down to London to get my e-residency card from the embassy, and the lady said, "Thank you for choosing Estonia." And I just like burst into tears. I was like, "Thank you for having me." And, you know, I thought that was a really good sign. And that was the starting point.
Brilliant. And also, when you sort of, once you had your card and you made the decision that let me set up a company, I mean, how was this process? I mean, could you briefly maybe explain how the process really worked out, getting a bank account, all of that?
Yeah, so I mean, when I first got my e-residency and my e-residency card, it was a little bit, like kind of what next? And I think, you know, to manage realistic expectations, you must have a plan of where you're trying to get to with this. And my plan always was, you know, I wanted to set up the company. So e-residency was step one in terms of setting up a startup company, and setting up startups and growing them is what I do. It was incredibly easy. There's a lot of support information. There's a lot of support systems. All I had to do was kind of fill in a form, submit my details, get that information verified, and my whole company registration went through. At the time that I became an e-resident and set up the company, you needed to go to Tallinn in person to open your bank account. And I'm glad that I did, because I've fallen in love with Tallinn and it's somewhere where I'm increasingly spending a big proportion of my time. Not that that's necessary, I hasten to add, but I went to Tallinn to go to the bank. And right up to that moment, I was still not completely sure I hadn't been tricked, because it felt like so good to be true. And I went into the bank and they were expecting me. I had my bank interview in English, got all my paperwork, and it has been seamless. I do all my monthly business reporting online. I had to register for VAT and tax and those kind of things. But I mean, just today I jumped on to my Estonian business management software, added a new client, generated an invoice, figured out cross-border exchange and VAT rates, and out again in under 10 minutes. I mean, just so easy.
Yeah, what I would add is that most e-residents don't do that trip anymore. They choose to have a fintech partner, because fintechs are sometimes better than banks, but I'm happy that also the banking option worked out for you. But now that you have an Estonian entity for a while, has it also sort of maybe changed the way you do business, or maybe find new business opportunities or new areas to look into in any way, or maybe not? Yeah,
it has. I mean, I think, you know, what we've done with it, and again, I think this is really important for people listening to think about, you know, we always intended to build a real business. This is not some kind of scam where you build a shell company. You know, this isn't a tax dodge. This isn't a shortcut through an immigration queue or anything like that. This, for me, was always the safety net if Brexit went the way it has, and I could no longer do business with the world from the country I lived in. Where would I do business with the world from? And I set it up kind of slowly, because partly I hoped the UK would come to its senses, which it evidently didn't. And so this year, particularly in a way, COVID pushing everything remote, it's made it even easier. We've grown that business. We've raised money. We're doing work through the Estonian company, and we're now on track for that to be our EU-wide base. And, I can imagine it won't be many years before that's far bigger entity than the original company that we created here in Scotland.
Yeah, when we look back at this year, it's been an incredibly tough one, I have to say, and for many entrepreneurs and freelancers, they've been stuck in one place. They can't travel. Cross-border trade has been entire industries have been really disrupted. And also, with your experience, how do you sort of advise people? What advice would you give to people who've also had to deal with major setbacks this year?
Yeah, this year has been the absolute masterclass in uncertainty and volatility and broken dreams for a lot of people. I think you can't rush your recovery as an entrepreneur, and you can't keep dipping into your levels of resilience, emotional resilience and energy resilience, unless you top them back up again. And, I've actually found that, I had a very exhausting and difficult experience with one of my businesses. I lost my job as CEO, I lost my company, and I didn't know if I would ever be able to do it again. I was so exhausted. I was so heartbroken, actually, that I didn't imagine I would be able to do it again. But taking some time, growing my plants, getting some headspace, looking at the world slightly differently, was really important part of that, topping back up my resilience levels so that when the next opportunity came, I was ready to grasp it. And, this opportunity, this problem that we're solving with Vistalworks is a hugely interesting problem. We're looking at online illegal trade right across the world, but it wasn't my idea. It was brought to us by the police and by the tax and customs office. But I was ready as an entrepreneur to find opportunity again. I was emotionally ready. I was energetically ready. And then I was very, very open to new ways of doing business, of which this is one. And I think this year, for all its uncertainty and all its volatility, has let me cut the final ties with the things I did because that's how you do them. This year, all of that has been shaken up, and now it's quite interesting and quite exciting to go into 2021 going, well, all of these things I don't have to do anymore because they've proved themselves to be completely unnecessary. And yet I would never have imagined giving them up. So I think this has been, there is opportunity to be found here. But I think you need, as entrepreneurs, you need to give yourself the time and the self-care and the vitamins, big believer in vitamins, to kind of have the stamina to do it, because it is a long game. You don't make your quick win overnight, and you don't make it on the very first gamble you take. You have to keep going.
Yeah, we're almost out of time, but I would still like to ask my last question. That also many people wish to try something new, probably in 2021, to have a better year. But also for people who don't have maybe such a high risk appetite, would you still advise e-residency for them?
I definitely would. In fact, I would say I actually have quite a low risk appetite. I'm older. I don't want to lose my house. I don't have the same risk appetite I might have had at 25, but then I know a lot more than I did at 25. So I think I make better guesses. I would say spend little and test a lot. So break what you're trying to do down to the smallest possible part. Think like a really, really lazy sloth creature, like any kind of lazy thing. What is the least amount of work I can do to have the biggest impact, to reassure myself this is worth doing? I have to prove to myself every month, every quarter, this business this idea deserves to live another day. It deserves to live another quarter. And, you know, things like e-residency, setting up online, testing the water, doing little and proving it has an impact is the most de-risking thing you can do. And actually, you need to de-risk stuff for yourself as an entrepreneur, because you can't roll the dice on every decision. You save it for the big ones.
Yeah, thank you, Vicky, for continuing to inspire us. I hope to continue that conversation when you're next in Estonia. But now to everyone,
next week, I hope.
We have brilliant people in the breakout room, so it's time to prepare for that. Thank you. I think it's time for Elise to come back.
Hi, everyone. Hi again. Thank you so much for that very informative session. It was really interesting to hear someone like Vicky really giving us a real life story, like what she's gone through, why she made that decision, and how she came across Estonia. So again, that gave us a little bit of insight, but I think this was a taster. So it might be better to go straight into the main menu, as we would say. So our 3 intimate breakout sessions. So although Matt before kind of explained a little bit about what these sessions are going to be about, I'll also briefly explain one more time and also present the speakers. So obviously, to access those sessions, as always, please click on the left hand of the screen on the sessions button. You will see now as they are happening really, really soon. So firstly, we have growing your startup in Estonia's tech powerhouse. So as Mats mentioned, some may not know that Estonia is house for 5 unicorns, which is very, very impressive considering the size of the country. That only shows how fast growing the startup ecosystem is. So if you'd like to find out how to get a piece of that cake, please join Liisi Org, Startup Community Development Manager, Startup Estonia, Alagan Mahalingam, Founder, CEO and Chief Software Architect, Root Code Labs, and Alex Fellman, who will be moderating the session, Marketing and Communications Team Lead at e-Residency. These 3 will be having an all-rounded discussion on the state of the Estonian ecosystem. So please join that session if this is what you'd like to find out about. So the next session is Digital Nomads and e-Residency, your questions answered. Again, similar to Vicky's story, we'll find out if e-Residency can boost a location-independent lifestyle. This discussion will feature, again, real-life e-resident stories and how they experience business through being part of the program. So please join Fabio Fazzin, Digital Nomad, Ignacio Nieto Carvajal, micropreneur and founder of Your Company in Estonia and Digital Leaves, and Hannah Brown, who will be moderating the session, Head of Content e-Residency, Republic of Estonia. Finally, we have Breakout Session 3, Estonia, no profit tax while you grow. Who can benefit? This is more about all of you who are thinking about starting your online business with e-Residency, because this session will teach you the basics of taxation rules for e-residents. So please join the session if you want to find out more about tax. Since in this session we have Andra Larin, international tax lawyer, founder and managing director, Prior Launch. We have Christoph Hübner, co-founder of the Estonian e-Residents International Chamber Association, and Raimo Madvere, head of partnerships e-Residency, Republic of Estonia. So those are our 3 breakout sessions. So that's really it from me. Before I go, I would like to thanks again Matt for the incredible presentation, and Vicky also for joining us and telling us about her experience. And also from the TOA team, because this is the last skill exchange of the year. We really hope you enjoy your holidays wherever you are. Hopefully looking forward to better times for everyone coming into 2021. And please keep yourself yourself updated and posted about our next events coming in 21. So thank you very much for joining and enjoy the sessions.